So all of you ready for it, right? So can anybody tell me what is ATP? Alina Begum and Ramsha has to keep their cameras on. What is ATP? I told you adenosine triphosphate, which is responsible for giving energy for the food. Okay, so we were talking about light reaction. This was the light reaction where we have seen that the preparation of food that takes place in the presence of sunlight. So how in the presence of sunlight, the chloroplast could capture energy in the form of ATP. And now let us see what is heterotrophic nutrition. Can anybody tell me, when we were telling that the self preparation takes place, so what type of nutrition? Can you name the term given to the nutrition that is made by itself? Who can answer? Ramsha, I'll just ask you later. You have raised the hand. Apart from Ramsha, anybody else who can tell me about which nutrition we were talking, where the organisms prepare their own food in the presence of sunlight? Can anybody tell me? Yes. Alina Begum, Aisha, Ashaz, anybody can answer. Okay, Ramsha, you can answer.
Okay, so the process through which organisms make food by themselves independently is known as autotrophic mode of nutrition, and the organisms who depend on others for making their own food, that type of nutrition is known as heterotrophic nutrition.
Very good, very good. So you know that, so now we're going to talk about heterotrophic nutrition. So let's see what is heterotrophic nutrition. So in this, you know what is happening is all living organisms that are capable, organisms that can capture light to produce their food. These are in autotrophic. We have seen how chloroplast captures the photons and ATP is produced. But how does other organisms take their own food? Like some organisms break down the food materials outside the body and absorb it. Like if you can see, for example, the bread molds, yeast, mushrooms. You must have seen that the bread, you know, if it is kept moist or water is sprinkled on it, you see green colored molds appearing on it. So those molds, what are they? There are some new organisms. And yeast, have anyone of you have seen yeast? What is yeast?
YEAST.
Yes.
Oh, I heard about it. I don't know much.
Okay, anybody? You know, it is also a microorganism, yeast, which we are generally using. If you just see tandoor ka roti and you get kulcha, which you eat with the naan or kulches that you eat na, with nahari. Have you all seen that? So if this yeast, this has been used into that flour to make it that, you know, that consistency, the thickness you get and the taste you get. And this has got some nutritional value also. So this yeast is nothing but a microorganism. And mushrooms. So these are all heterotrophic organisms. Heterotrophic, how do they acquire their food? Let us see, they're not autotrophic. They don't prepare their own food. And the other type is called saprophytes. What are saprophytes? The size of the food particles varies considerably, ranging from microscopic organisms to large animals and plants. Each organism is adapted to the environment. You know, depending upon the saprophytes are those, you know, you have got heterotypes, you have heterotrophic, autotrophics. You have understood very well. You have seen how the light reaction takes place and how the plants prepare their own food. Then what are heterotrophs and what are saprophytes? There are various types of organisms that are available. So let us see how do they consume and what are their mode of preparing food or taking food from the environment. And the form of nutrition differs depending on the type and availability of the food, as well as how it is obtained by the organisms. It is not only in the organisms. If you look at human beings, we are the highly evolved creatures. Apart from microorganisms, animals, birds, and the entire animal kingdom and the plant kingdom, if you see, human beings are highly evolved. We are called as Ashraful Makhluqat. That is, God has given us a thinking power. So this is, then also you find the food that we eat in India may differ from the people who eat food in some other parts of the country, like the food in Saudi Arabia. The staple food that is available there, if you look at things like, they use most of zaitun, because that is what is the food of the land. You call it the food of the land. And in India, the food of the land is what we eat, we consume, which are easily available. So that's how the organisms adapt themselves to the food that they get. There no doubt about it now, because the whole world has become a global village. And if you go to the market, all types of food from all countries of the world that is available now for us. But it's always better to consume the food of the land that is good for your health. And now these animals also, if you see, they have adapted themselves to the type of food that is available. If you look at amoeba, amoeba is a single unicellular organism. And as I told you, one cell is taking care of all the functions of that organism. So if you look at it in this picture, amoeba has called a pseudo. Pseudo means false. Podia means legs. So the legs-like structure, can you all see the leg-like structure? If you all say yes, please show me a thumbs up so that I will know that you all could understand what is pseudopodia. Yeah, so you all can see these legs-like structure. Pseudo means false. They're actually not the legs of amoeba. They look like legs. So as I told you, most of the words are Greek and Latin. Pseudo in Latin means false. Podia in Latin means leg. So these are false leg of amoeba. So whenever amoeba comes in contact with the food particle, you can just see how it is capturing the food particle. So it captures this food particle, and then that gets inside, and Hydra also does the same. You can see it has got tentacles. Amoeba does it with pseudopodia, and Hydra does it with its tentacles. These animals do not cut the food and swallow the entire food at a time. And some animals cut the food into small pieces before they consume it. Like if you look at fish, snail, these are the seawater, how they eat. They are having sharp teeth-like structures with a tongue called radula, which helps them in crushing the food and eating. And the food vacuoles are also present inside. If you see, a complex substances are broken down into simpler ones, then diffuse into cytoplasm. If you look at this organism, it's called as a paramecium. And can anybody tell me what is the shape of this organism? How does it look like? Can you see this and tell me, has it got a resemblance to anything that you see in your everyday life?
It's like a pouch.
It looks like a pouch to Ramsha. Okay. Others, for others, how does it look like?
Leg stamp.
Yes, Aisha?
Leg stamp.
Huh? Yes, yes.
And
Very
our leg stamp.
leg, yeah, feet. It is slipper like. If you just check into it, it's like a slipper.
Yes.
So mostly, we called it a slipper-shaped organism. This is called paramecium. So paramecium is what it is doing is all undigested food material is moved to the surface of the cell and it is thrown out. So if you see that the food that is our undigested food is thrown out from the anus. But in this paramecium, when it takes a food, the food that is required by the animal is absorbed and digested, and undigested food will be thrown out from all the entire body surface, which you can see. So Now you can see how it is being thrown out of its body surface. This is all the undigested food. And so you can see this in paramecium, it's a unicellular. Uni means one celled organism, but it has got a definite shape. It has got a fixed shape, and food is taken it in a specific spot, and food is moved in the spot by a movement of cilia. Cilia are this hair-like structure. Do you see this hair-like structure around it? Can everybody, if you can see this hair-like structure, give me a thumbs up. This is called cilia. Do remember these hair-like. Everybody, yes, Ramsha, you cannot see this hair-like structure?
Not really.
Could not see?
Yeah.
I'll just use a pen and to show you. So. Can you see here? Yes? Can
Yes.
you see small hair-like structures here? Yes?
Yes.
So these are called cilia. So remember the word cilia. Cilia is again a Latin word which means hair-like. Actually, cilia is, in English we call it hair. Okay, whereas in Latin it's called as cilia. So this paramecium has got this hair-like structure which helps it in moving. So the movement takes place because of this cilia. Yes, Ramsha, what's your doubt?
Ma'am,
raise
but
your
why
hand.
does the hair are only on one side you showed just now? Why not on all the sides covered?
In picture you are seeing it only in front, it is shown because this picture is, but it is covered to the entire body of the paramecium.
In reality, it is covered.
Yes, it is in the entire body, it is covered, and with the movement of the cilia only, the paramecium moves, swims in the water. Okay, so it covers the entire surface of the cell, this cilia. And the food is the previous picture you have seen, no paramecium, where you can see the entire body. See, in this picture you can see the entire body. This is a clear picture. Can you see the cilia covering the entire body? So here, you can see that the food is ingested in the cytosome, in this cytostome of the paramecium. So the whole food gets entered inside this cytosome and get digested over here. And if you see this parasitic nutrition is this Cuscuta has got a very interesting, you call it as genus Cuscuta, or dodder is its common name. It's a leafless twinging parasitic plant. Do anyone of you know what do you mean by parasitic plant? This is a parasitic plant. Anybody knows what's a parasite? Ashaz, I cannot see your face. Keep your camera in such a way that I don't know whether you're sleeping or you're really attentive in the class. Keep your camera on properly so that I can see you. So, Alina, So, anybody knows what is a parasite? Parasites are the organism that depend on other organisms for food. So Cuscuta is a very good example of a parasitic organisms. It derives its food from other plants. It goes, get itself attached to the plants and take the food from there. Through us, they have got, part of a body, in their body part, whenever they are getting stick to the other plants for food, they get through dawdlers. They have got dawdlers. You can see this in the next picture, through which they get attached to other organisms and derive food from there. Like if you see a parasite, a good example is corona is also a parasite. It depends upon our food and it likes the RNA that is present inside the cells, and mostly it likes the lung cells. through your nostrils and all. When you know the places, moist places, the cells that are present in the moist places are the most lovable place to live for corona, and it derives its food from there. It is also a parasite. So that's how this parasite enters. And how is corona getting attached? It is getting attached to our RNA. So similarly, in this dawdler Cuscuta, you can see the dawdlers get attached to its to the body of a plant, from where it has to extract its food. Yes, what's your doubt? You raised your hand?
Me?
Yeah? No? Okay.
I wanted to say that you were explaining about corona, giving example. So corona doesn't survive if it doesn't get the food in our cells inside us.
Yes, inside. That is the reason we have to take a vaccine. Vaccine is producing artificial RNA, and when corona gets attached to that artificial RNA, it will not get food and it dies. So that is how we have to starve it. And if we are eating sugary products, that's a very good food for it. It can live for a longer time and damage your body easily. So that is how, these parasites enters inside a host. We are hosting these parasites inside. So it has got roots-like organism that penetrate the tissue of the host plant and may kill it instead of absorbing food. Sometimes, like corona is even killing human beings. So it doesn't even derive food from the organisms, but it kills them also. These are called parasites. It has root-like organs which are penetrating and absorbing the food from the host. Host is their one on which they are. You can see how they have, twisted their body around, forming anchoring roots, and then sends up a slender stem that grows in a spiral fashion until it reaches the host plant. How it is in a spiral fashion, it climbs into the, like a climber, it climbs and penetrates inside the host and acquires its food. Okay, through it. And this twins around the stem of the host plants and form hostoria, which penetrates through it. So when they're going around it, they produce some small penetrating is needle-like structures that enters into the host plant for the food, and that gets, is getting into the host plant, and that is how they absorb food through it. So then it twines around the stem of the host plant and forms hostoria, which is penetrating through it. And then you see how they get the food from the host plant. And certain times they eat away the host if they multiply very fast. And water is drawn through the hostoria from the host plant xylem, and nutrients are drawn from its phloem. You can see xylem and phloem are the two tissues which we have learned earlier, which are responsible for the conduction of the food material. So what they are doing is the water is drawn through the hostoria, this water from the host plant through xylem, and then these nutrients draw from its phloem. So from roots to, if it is going on the upward direction, food is supplied. Minerals and water from the soil is taken by the roots, and these xylem tissues help in the upward movement of the food material, whereas phloem helps in the downward movement. So when the food is prepared in the leaf through photosynthesis, through this down, then this food is supplied to all parts of the body through the tissue called phloem. So these phloem and xylem are very interesting tissues, and their function, based upon their function only, you have got the hydroelectric motor pumps that allow the water to be pumped inside your home on the terrace, how the water is being pulled, and that has been made based upon this system. So now let us see how is this. Meanwhile, you can even see that the roots rots away after the stem contact has been made with the host plants. So they don't even take food from them, this Cuscuta, but it kills the host plant also completely. It rots and it dies. And after growing in few spiral around one host shoot, the dawdler finds its way to another, and it continues to twine and the branch until it resembles into a fine structures. Yes, please. Yes, what's your doubt? Somebody raised a
What do
hand.
you mean by host plants?
Who is an air
Yes,
hostess
ma'am.
in a, you know, an air hostess into the aeroplane? What does she do? She's supplying you food all the time, and somebody guests come to your place. You are a host, right? मेहमान मेहमान जो है गेस्ट रहेगा, जो मेहमान नवाजी करता है, that's a host. Okay, so like we become a host for our guests. So similarly, the host plant is this cascota is driving food from a plant. It is becoming the guest of that plant. In the beginning, it is a guest. So it enters inside, and later what is happening there is it is killing that host itself, right? So after growing a few spiral arounds, you can see these fine thread-like structures that surrounds the host plants, and densely tanged web of thin stems that are enveloping the host plants. You can just see how it is enveloping, covering the entire host plants. Now, if you look at the nutrition, how it is happening in the human being, we are the most evolved organisms. So how is it happening in our body? In our body, human digestive system is very complex in nature. It has got different parts that we can see and different functions, digestive juices, enzymes. It starts from the mouth to anus. So let us see what all are the different parts which we can see here. You can see that the elementary, we call it an alimentary canal, and it's basically a long tube-like structure that is extending from our mouth. It starts from our mouth and ends towards the anus. Okay. And the alimentary canal is basically, you can just see how the food is moving. And this tube has got different parts. Various regions are specialized to perform these different functions. And you can see how the food is moving. And then, you know, you from the plate, when you are eating, you put a morsel into your mouth. How is it moving throughout your alimentary canal and reaching your stomach? It has to be converted to substances, and they're small enough to utilize in our body. Okay, what is the passage of the food? Do you want me to, because alimentary canal is very important, do you want to draw that diagram and try to understand the parts of it? Once you do that, then we can continue so that, you know, it becomes easier for you to understand. And till now, what all I have explained, is it clear, or you have got any doubts?
Okay.
Yes.
So, as you have said that coronavirus needs food provided by our cells, then why do some people say that coronavirus is roaming in the air? Don't go out, it's still in the air. So how can the COVID survive without food from our body?
Very, very good. Can anybody answer this question? It's a very interesting question. When it survives only inside our body like a parasite, then how is it coming inside the air? What happens is, any person who is COVID positive, when that person is exhaling out air, exhaling carbon dioxide or from its mouth or from the nose, from any part, you know, this organism is coming out in the air. And if you are, that is the reason you have to maintain a social distancing. If you are even maintaining the social distancing within that place, after some time that organism dies. But if you are sitting very close to a patient who is already having COVID, then that is entering into your body. That is how it is surviving. If it doesn't get that time, you know, at least if it is, because even you have seen that on different containers, on the metal, it can survive for 6 hours. For 6 hours, if it is not getting the human body, it dies. So that is the reason we have to keep on washing our hands. Supposing if we don't know who is corona positive, because there are asymptomatic corona positive patients also around, and if they have touched something and you have got those microorganisms, and when you are touching, it has come to you, and unconsciously, if you're touching your nose, eyes, any opening of your body, it enters inside your body, and that's how it affects you. Okay.
So everyone gets vaccinated, so coronavirus will disappear or it will still remain in the air.
When the whole world gets vaccinated, we call it an herd immunity. Then when it comes in the air, because inside the body it's not getting the food, and when it goes to any body also it is not getting food, so it will die definitely. That's how earlier also there were diseases like polio, chicken pox, all these diseases. Because of vaccination, we could eradicate those diseases. That is completely eradicated. So we have to eradicate corona also. So for that, everybody has to get vaccinated. And then also, until and unless it's not completely eradicated, we have to use masks whenever we are going outside, and social distancing, mask and sanitizer, we call it SMS. That is social distancing, mask and sanitizers are very important. Every time you have to use them. So you're taking in of the food through mouth, and it's called ingestion. So remember this, so note down the word ingestion. Tomorrow, Monday, we'll be back on Monday. And at the end of the chapter, what all are the exercises till now you have completed? Please try to solve them. If you're getting any problem or difficult to do that, next class we are first going to discuss on that. Are you able to answer those questions or not? If you're finding it difficult to answer, then we will go back and resume again to explain you where you're not there. But I think I have already shared the videos there. If you're not understanding anything, go through the videos, because we cannot waste time in explaining again and again. And then you have to come prepared for the next class. So that would be the internal assessment. You will get a marks for solving those problems and answering all the questions on Monday. So Monday will